Unsolved mysteries involving mysterious individuals have a unique and enduring fascination that captures our collective imagination. These enigmatic figures, whether real or the stuff of legends, possess an irresistible allure that compels us to delve into the unknown. Two mysterious individuals visit a hotel. A video capturing the entrance of two individuals believed to be men in black into the Sheraton Hotel lobby on the Canadian side of the Niagara Falls has fascinated people for years. The footage was uploaded to YouTube, and this incident, which took place on May 15, 2009, has been thoroughly investigated by those who are interested in the unknown. It was found that these alleged men in black specifically sought out the general manager of the hotel, who, along with a fellow employee working security at the time, had an encounter with a triangular-shaped unidentified object 7 months prior to this incident. The sighting occurred on the night of October 14, 2008, as the unidentified object glided slowly and silently over the hotel premises. The presence of this surveillance video has stirred great interest and curiosity among UFO enthusiasts and researchers alike. The two hotel employees provided a detailed account of the extraordinary aerial phenomenon they encountered. They described the unidentified flying object as an impressive sight, measuring approximately 240 feet in length, and stated that the aircraft boasted a unique configuration with 3 white lights prominently displayed on all 3 sides, while a pulsating red light adorned its central section, adding to its mystique. Their observation of the object lasted for nearly 10 minutes, during which it traversed the skies in a slow and noiseless manner at an estimated altitude of 500 feet. Its flight path extended from over Niagara's majestic Horseshoe Falls toward the direction of their hotel, leaving the witnesses in awe and disbelief. What further captivated their attention was the craft's fascinating behavior. As it gracefully hovered above the water, the object emitted a brilliant beam of shimmering white light. This radiant display was directed downward, seemingly illuminating the surface of the water with a mesmerizing glow. However, as the two individuals continued to observe this extraordinary phenomenon, their astonishment quickly turned to trepidation. About a week later, the hotel manager was alone in the hotel parking lot at 1 a.m. when he noticed another black triangle flying in the same direction but at a much higher altitude. Approximately 7 months following the occurrence of the two aforementioned sightings, a rather unsettling incident took place on May 15th. It involved the hotel staff, who found themselves at the center of an eerie encounter. Two individuals, bearing an uncanny resemblance to one another, were observed entering the hotel lobby. These men were attired in matching black trench coats and hats, which only added to the mystique of the situation. Curiosity piqued. They approached the front desk and requested to speak with the hotel manager. Upon encountering the hotel's bellman, the two individuals, who were described as having an unusually distinctive appearance, were informed by the bellman that the manager was absent for the day. Although the bellman perceived a sense of disbelief from the two men, they proceeded to explore various areas of the hotel in search of the manager. After the bellman completed his assigned tasks and returned, he discovered that the two individuals had departed from the premises. This incident showcases an intriguing encounter between the bellman and these enigmatic men, raising questions about their motives and intentions within the hotel. The following day, when the hotel manager resumed his duties, the bellman approached him discreetly. He proceeded to recount the unsettling incident involving two individuals who had left him feeling unnerved. According to the bellman, these two men had strikingly similar appearances, characterized by an eerie pallor, towering height, and identical attire, right down to the matching hats and trench coats they were wearing. This encounter had left the bellman thoroughly shaken, their presence and uncanny resemblance haunting his thoughts. With a mixture of skepticism and concern, the manager proceeded to the hotel security office and meticulously analyzed the surveillance footage from the preceding day. His objective was to locate any footage capturing the entry of the two individuals into the hotel lobby. Taking a comprehensive approach, the manager delved into the details of the surveillance tapes, carefully examining each frame to ascertain the precise time in which the two individuals entered the hotel. The following day, an additional employee from the hotel approached the manager confidentially and recounted her encounter with the two individuals. During their conversation, They inquired about the manager while delving into topics that seemed completely nonsensical to her, such as discussions about governments and mysterious aircrafts. A sense of fear washed over her when she observed a peculiar detail about them: their complete lack of facial hair, including eyebrows. It appeared as though they were wearing hats with attached wigs, giving them an unnatural and unsettling appearance. This bizarre encounter left her perplexed and unsettled, raising questions about the true nature and intentions of these individuals. The woman recounted to her boss the striking appearance of the two men, with their large and captivating blue eyes that seemed to hold a hypnotic power. As she delved further into her experience, her emotions overwhelmed her, resulting in tears as she tried to convey the strong impression that these individuals had the ability to delve into her thoughts, particularly regarding the manager. She even felt compelled to actively block any thoughts related to him due to the unsettling sensation. What troubled her further was the fact that these men never blinked, not even once, which added to the overall eerie atmosphere of the encounter. The information surrounding the Men in Black incident is primarily based on the testimony of the manager. However, despite this limitation, those who have investigated this case have said that the witness was trustworthy and reliable. Additionally, the video capturing the Men in Black's entry into the lobby was provided by the hotel manager, adding an extra layer of evidence to the case. As of right now, the footage is believed to be one of the few genuine pieces of evidence that we have of the Men in Black. Dr. Herbert Hopkins and the missing coin. Many people regard the Men in Black as being nothing more than the appearance of government agents dressed in perfect black suits that attempt to cover up or use scare tactics to prevent the public at large from understanding the true occurrence of mysterious activity. However, the Men in Black could also be something else entirely, something not human. This appears to be the case when reviewing the reports made by a Dr. Herbert Hopkins and his strange encounter with an individual who suddenly showed up at his house while he was conducting a private investigation. Dr. Herbert Hopkins was working as a consultant on a case involving a sighting of an unidentified flying object, as well as various other claims that had occurred in the state of Maine. One night, as Dr. Hopkins was poring over further details of the case he had recovered, he received an eerie phone call from someone who claimed to be an activist, who then further stated that not only did he wish to visit Hopkins, but he had additional evidence regarding the case. Dr. Hopkins was thrilled to hear this, as any additional witness testimony and proof brought forward would certainly help him to better understand the situation that had occurred, and so he gave the man the details of his address and directions on how to reach him. Oddly enough, it only took a few minutes before he heard the ring of his doorbell. The man that showed up to his house was described by Dr. Hopkins as wearing a perfectly pressed black suit and black tie. But this was far from the most noticeable thing about the man. According to Dr. Hopkins, the Man in Black had incredibly unusual facial features. The man had no hair of any kind, including a bald head, completely shaved eyebrows and no eyelashes. He was also so unbelievably pale to the point that it looked unhealthy and completely unnatural. Not wanting to be rude, Dr. Hopkins invited the strange man into the home to discuss the details of the case. When the strange man entered, Dr. Hopkins' dog began barking at the man erratically and demonstrated incredible uneasiness around him. The only thing out of the man's mouth were direct questions being asked about the details of the case, involving information that no one other than the current investigators were made aware of. After Dr. Hopkins answered his questions and told the man everything he had learned about the case, the conversation became a whole lot weirder. The Man in Black told Dr. Herbert Hopkins that there were 2 coins in his pocket and for the doctor to make sure he was correct. When the doctor checked his pockets, he found 2 coins and immediately became disturbed by this. The Man in Black then instructed the doctor to remove one of the coins in his pockets and to hold it in his hand. As the coin sat in the palm of the doctor's hands, he began to see what he described as the coin taking on a silvery appearance and then appeared as if it was going out of focus. After a few more seconds, the coin disappeared completely and was nowhere to be seen. The Man in Black then explained to Hopkins that the coin will never be seen on this plane again, implying that perhaps it's in a different plane of existence altogether. The Man in Black then asked the doctor if he was aware of the case of Barney Hill. For those that are not aware of Barney Hill, he was a famous collaborator in the unidentified object community, with interesting experiences and witness accounts. He and his wife worked tirelessly to develop the legitimate study of advanced life before his untimely passing that was already shrouded in mystery. The man in black then told Dr. Hopkins that the reason Barney had passed away was due to them using the same tactic as they did with the coin on Barney's hand. The man in black clarified by saying, "Just like you no longer have a coin, Barney didn't have a heart." The man in black then told Dr. Hopkins to destroy any material he had related to the UFO case and to no longer participate in any further study. Extremely disturbed by this event, Dr. Hopkins immediately burned all the files he had relative to the case. Dan Aykroyd's mysterious encounter. Most notably known for his comedic movies and popular celebrity entourage, Dan Aykroyd began work on a paranormal TV show that worked to ask experts for their opinions, consult on investigations, and treat the world of the paranormal as a legitimate field of study. According to Mr. Aykroyd, during one of his filming shoots, he stepped outside to take a private call without anyone listening in. As he was standing outside taking the call, he noticed a black Ford parked across the street and a strange, tall man that stepped out of the car. This strange man then began staring at Mr. Aykroyd angrily. After feeling a little awkward, Mr. Aykroyd turned away for a moment before looking back and noticing the car and the strange, tall man had completely vanished. After he finished his phone call and returned to the shoot, he was immediately told by the producers that the show had been cancelled and he was ordered to stop filming immediately. Though many people doubt his claims, to this day, Dan Aykroyd swears by what he saw and believes the cancelling of his show to be connected with these strange men in black. The mysterious disappearance of Ronald Ohm in the enigmatic Cascades. Over 250,000 individuals are reported missing every year, with estimates of actual missing persons cases that are left unreported, pushing that total to more than an expected 300,000 cases annually. With that many reports, it is no wonder that a vast majority of these cases are left unsolved. However, every now and then there are a series of missing cases that emerge that are so peculiar they become the subject of impossible to explain theories. Known as the Missing 411, there appears to be a substantial number of missing persons cases relating to the disappearances of individuals from national parks. Reported among the awe-inspiring landscape of the Cascades, experienced outdoorsman Ronald Ohm and his bizarre disappearance near Russell Lake in the Mount Jefferson Wilderness area has left investigators and the public perplexed. Ronald, an experienced hiker and photographer, went missing while exploring the rugged terrain of this scenic region. Despite extensive search efforts, including the deployment of helicopters and planes, no trace of Ronald or his belongings was ever found. The Cascades, a majestic mountain range stretching through Oregon and Washington, is renowned for its stunning natural beauty and challenging terrain. Mount Jefferson, standing proudly at 10,497 feet, serves as the centerpiece of the Mount Jefferson Wilderness area. Situated approximately 20 miles north of the Three Sisters Wilderness, this rugged expanse of wilderness offers adventurers a captivating experience. With its high-altitude setting, exposed boulders, and numerous lakes, including the enigmatic Russell Lake, the area presents both breathtaking vistas and potential hazards. The absence of dense vegetation above the timberline reveals a landscape that can be unforgiving, yet its allure draws hikers, photographers, and nature enthusiasts seeking solitude and serenity. Accompanied by two of his close friends from the Portland area, Ronald Ohm embarked on a hiking expedition in the Mount Jefferson Wilderness and had planned to stay in the area for only a few days. Armed with his tent, sleeping bag, photography equipment, and supplies, Ronald's intention was to capture the beauty of the region through his lens and then return home before the end of the week. Unfortunately for Ronald and his friends, strategy would strike halfway through their expedition in the area. On the day of his disappearance, Ronald's friends decided to hike down to Russell Lake and set up camp, while Ohm opted to stay on a ridge above the lake to take more photographs, separating his two closest friends while he stayed on the ridge alone throughout the night. As darkness fell, Ronald's friends had grown worried as to where Ohm had gone, as he was expected to have returned to their camp before nightfall. and when Ronald failed to rejoin his friends at the lake, the friends took his absence as a sign that something far more nefarious had occurred. Concerned, his companions initiated a small search, retracing their path from the ridge and back down while calling out to Ronald, but were unable to locate him. The following day, the United States Forest Service and the Marion County Sheriff's Department were alerted, prompting a formal search operation. The search for Ronald Ohm involved a collaborative effort between the Marion County Sheriff's Department, the United States Forest Service, and additional support from the Oregon National Guard and Civil Air Patrol. Helicopters and planes were deployed, scouring the rugged landscape in an attempt to locate Ronald from the air. Meanwhile, over 200 ground searchers meticulously combed the area, employing a grid pattern to cover vast stretches of land. Despite their exhaustive efforts, no trace of Ronald or any of his belongings, including his equipment, backpack, hat, camera, or sleeping bag, was found. Ronald Ohm's vanishing near Russell Lake adds to the disturbing pattern of disappearances in the Cascades. Curiously, there have been reports of individuals going missing in this particular corridor during the summer months of 2012. Notably, the last two cases involved individuals over 50 years old who disappeared within a 25-mile radius of each other while venturing alone in the wilderness. This uncanny similarity raises questions about the circumstances surrounding these events and the potential underlying factors at play. The unexplained disappearances in the Cascades have sparked numerous theories and speculations. Some have questioned whether the volcanic nature of the region, with its active and inactive volcanoes, could have any connection to these vanishing cases. Others have pondered the role of the rugged landscape, characterized by boulders, rocks, and exposed granite, which features prominently in the vicinity where people have gone missing. Drawing comparisons with folklore from other regions, such as Iceland, where large rocks and boulders are believed to hold mystical significance, adds an intriguing layer to the discussion. The Cascades, while alluring, also hold an air of mystery and danger. As David Paulides, an investigator of missing persons cases, emphasizes, these disappearances cannot be attributed to mere coincidence. The sheer number of documented cases, along with the bizarre circumstances under which individuals have vanished or been found, points to something inexplicable happening in this captivating wilderness. While the precise causes remain elusive, it is crucial to raise awareness about these incidents and offer support to the families affected. The vanishing of Ronald Ohm near Russell Lake in the Cascades serves as a haunting reminder of the enigmatic nature of this breathtaking region. Despite extensive search efforts and the deployment of resources, Ronald's disappearance remains unsolved, leaving investigators and loved ones searching for answers. As we reflect on his case and the broader pattern of disappearances in the Cascades, we are reminded of the need for continued vigilance, research, and awareness. The search for truth and closure persists as we strive to understand the mysterious forces that have claimed the lives and presence of those who ventured into the captivating yet treacherous wilderness of the Cascades. The mystery of Nicolas Flamel. Performing a Google search for the name Nicolas Flamel will generate an overwhelming number of search results. However, the majority of these results predominantly spotlight books or information related to the fictional character Nicolas Flamel. If one seeks information about the historical figure, the renowned alchemist, the task becomes considerably more challenging. Nicolas Flamel gained particular prominence due to J.K. Rowling's portrayal of him in the widely popular book Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. In this narrative, Flamel is portrayed as the creator of the mythical Philosopher's Stone, capable of producing the elixir of life and transforming base metals into gold. While the factual existence of Flamel is not synonymous with immortality, his narrative possesses an air of enigmatic allure that continues to captivate and intrigue. Nicolas Flamel, born in 1330 in the vicinity of Paris, France, remains an enigmatic figure when it comes to his early years. However, as he reached adulthood, Flamel found work as a bookseller and formed a union with Perenelle, a widow slightly older than himself. Evidence suggests that Flamel's success as a bookseller manifested through generous donations to the Holy Innocents Cemetery and the presentation of a valuable manuscript to the royal court. Moreover, Flamel gained wide recognition for his mastery in the realm of alchemy. The field of alchemy had gained remarkable popularity throughout Europe during this period, notably with a focus on the transmutation of substances, particularly the ambitious pursuit of converting base metals into precious gold. Delving deeper into Flamel's life, his involvement as an alchemist extended beyond mere fascination. He passionately engaged in the study and practice of alchemical principles, seeking to unlock the mysteries of transmutation. The allure of turning base metals into gold fascinated Flamel, drawing him into a world of intricate experimentation and profound exploration of the natural world. Nicolas Flamel would gain widespread recognition and acclaim due to his remarkable achievement in developing the legendary Philosopher's Stone. This renowned artifact was believed to possess the extraordinary ability to transmute ordinary mercury into precious gold. There is significant skepticism surrounding the claims that Flamel's stone had the power to transform mercury into gold, especially considering that his wife was the only person who claimed to have witnessed such a transmutation. However, during the 14th century, Flamel's story was widely believed, leading Europe's royalty and nobility to actively seek out alchemists who could assist them in acquiring wealth and maintaining good health. The enigmatic aspect of Nicolas Flamel's tale lies in how he acquired the knowledge required to create the Philosopher's Stone. As recounted by the famous alchemist himself, a celestial being appeared to him in a dream, presenting a perplexing book that defied comprehension. This angelic entity prophesied that with time, the mysterious contents of the book would be unveiled to him. Mirroring this celestial encounter, Flamel's path crossed with an individual who possessed the exact same book from his dream, a book penned by none other than Abraham the Jew. Fascinated and driven by curiosity, Flamel wasted no time in acquiring this precious book. Over the course of 21 years, he tirelessly immersed himself in its cryptic symbols, gradually unlocking the profound secrets of transmutation concealed within its pages. Regrettably, the Book of Abramelin the Mage, which played such a pivotal role in Flamel's extraordinary journey, has tragically vanished from existence. Lost amidst the annals of history during the 17th century, this unfortunate circumstance renders the verification of Flamel's remarkable account impossible. Nicolas Flamel, renowned for his contributions to alchemy, dedicated the remainder of his life to France. During this period, he not only authored manuscripts on the subject, some of which can still be admired today at the renowned Bibliothèque Nationale in Paris, but he also indulged in regular visits to local cemeteries. Despite these intriguing aspects, Flamel's later years were seemingly unremarkable, characterized by an ordinary existence. Eventually, at the age of 80, he succumbed to the natural course of life and found his final resting place at the church of Saint-Jacques-la-Boucherie. Nevertheless, Flamel's legacy endured beyond his mortality. Although there is no concrete evidence from his own lifetime that suggests he had discovered the elixir of life, by the 17th century, the tale surrounding him had acquired grandeur. It became widely believed that Flamel had achieved immortality, fueled in part by the testimonies of would-be thieves who audaciously trespassed into his tomb with the hope of discovering the fabled Philosopher's Stone, rumored to be interred alongside its creator. However, their hopes were dashed when these intruders, upon opening Flamel's coffin, were greeted with an astounding revelation. No physical remains were found within. This unexpected circumstance further perpetuated the notion that Flamel had indeed achieved everlasting life, thereby adding another layer to the enigmatic saga of this alchemical figure. And thus, the legend surrounding Nicolas Flamel continued to grow and captivate the imagination of many. In present times, a significant number of individuals perceive Flamel as a mere fictional character, but there exists undeniable evidence that he did, in fact, exist. A deep dive into the French archives would unveil his marriage certificate to Perenelle, records documenting the gifts he bestowed upon others, and copies of his meticulously crafted manuscripts. These artifacts serve as a testament to the life of an ordinary man, albeit one fortunate enough to possess the ability to read and write during the 14th century in France. The Pollock twins. The story of the Pollock twins is a fascinating and enigmatic tale that has intrigued both believers in reincarnation and skeptics alike. This case revolves around two young girls, Joanna and Jacqueline Pollock, who were born in Hexham, England in 1958, and their purported memories of a past life as their deceased sisters, Joanna and Jacqueline Pollock, who had tragically passed away in a car accident just 1 year before the new twins were born. The Pollock twins' story has captivated the imagination of many and has sparked debates about the possibility of reincarnation and the nature of human consciousness. The Pollock twins' background. To fully appreciate the complexity of this case, it is essential to understand the background. The original Joanna and Jacqueline Pollock were born in 1946 and 1947, respectively. Tragically, their lives were cut short when they were involved in a car accident on May 5, 1957, at the ages of 11 and 6, along with a family friend, Anthony Layden. Just 1 year later, on October 4, 1958, their mother, Florence Pollock, gave birth to twins, Gillian and Jennifer Pollock, who would soon become the center of a paranormal mystery. The story of the Pollock twins' reincarnation memories began when they were around 3 years old. Both Gillian and Jennifer started displaying strange behavior and making statements that perplexed their parents. They claimed to remember the accident that took the lives of their older sisters, Joanna and Jacqueline, despite never having been told about it by their parents. Their alleged memories included details about the car crash, the color of the car, and the presence of a man in the car with them, which corresponded with the actual circumstances of the accident. Florence Pollock and her husband, John Pollock, initially dismissed these claims as mere childhood fantasies. However, the girls' insistence on their past lives became increasingly detailed and accurate. They could even recall the layout of their previous home and the toys they had played with, which had never been described to them. Dr. Ian Stevenson's investigation. The case of the Pollock twins caught the attention of Dr. Ian Stevenson, a respected psychiatrist and researcher in the field of reincarnation studies. Stevenson had dedicated his career to investigating cases of children who claimed to remember past lives, and he saw the Pollock twins case as a unique opportunity to study the phenomenon. In 1963, he traveled to Hexham to interview the Pollock family and conduct an extensive investigation. Dr. Stevenson's research yielded several remarkable findings. He documented over 100 specific and accurate statements made by Gillian and Jennifer about their alleged past lives, many of which were later confirmed to be true. For instance, the girls accurately described the layout of the house where their deceased sisters had lived, the location of the bedrooms, and even details about the family's pet dog. They also displayed behaviors and preferences that were consistent with those of their deceased sisters, such as having the same favorite foods and showing a fondness for the same toys. While Dr. Stevenson's research seemed to support the idea of reincarnation, skeptics offered alternative explanations for the Pollock twins' memories. One argument was that the girls had overheard conversations about the accident and their deceased sisters, either from their parents or other family members, which could have influenced their beliefs and memories. However, the Pollock parents vehemently denied ever discussing the accident in front of the twins, and there was no evidence to suggest otherwise. Another skeptical explanation focused on the possibility of the twins having had access to photographs or other personal items belonging to their deceased sisters. Critics argued that this exposure could have led the girls to form vivid memories of their past lives. However, the Pollock family claimed to have kept such items locked away, and Dr. Stevenson's investigation did not uncover any evidence of the twins having accessed them. As of right now, the case of the Pollock twins remains a perplexing and controversial topic in the realm of paranormal phenomena and reincarnation studies. While Dr. Ian Stevenson's research provided substantial evidence in support of the twins' alleged memories, skeptics continue to propose alternative explanations. The mystery of the Pollock twins raises profound questions about the nature of consciousness, memory, and the possibility of life after death. The mystery of Eric Robinson. In the sprawling outskirts of Melbourne, Australia, Eric Robinson and his girlfriend Marilyn Coulsett lived contrasting lives. While Marilyn Coulsett dedicated her days to the education of young minds, working as the principal of the Valkstone Primary School, located in East Bentley, Eric embraced a life of exploration and adventure and would often go on long trips out in the middle of nowhere, often leaving behind a worried girlfriend. Despite Marilyn's worries, Eric Robinson was an incredibly experienced outdoorsman and hiker, holding years of experience traversing numerous trails throughout his home country, as well as mastering some of the most difficult trails across New Zealand, Scotland, California, and Utah. Eric Robinson was no stranger to national parks and month-long trips. With an unyielding passion for the great outdoors, Eric meticulously planned each and every one of his outdoor excursions, immersing himself in extensive research about each region he ventured into. However, despite his expertise and careful preparations, Eric's disappearance on the Highline Trail in the Winters Wilderness, Utah, remains a perplexing enigma and is a telling sign of the strange nature of the Winters Mountains and their unexplainable cluster of missing persons reports. Equipped with a red backpack, a sturdy tent, a personal sleeping bag, some bear spray, an expensive and well-tested personal transponder, his cell phone, and a sufficient 14-day food supply for his 10-day, 60-mile hike, Eric embarked on his anticipated adventure sometime in late July. According to Eric's girlfriend, Marilyn would last see Eric Robinson when she dropped him off at the Melbourne airport and said her goodbyes as he began his trip to the United States. According to close friends of Eric, he was picked up after arriving at Salt Lake City Airport and would stay his first night at his friend's house and enjoy an afternoon and evening together. It would be during this time while at his friend's house that Eric Robinson would go over the details surrounding his upcoming trek and inform the group that he had expected to arrive at his first rendezvous point during the afternoon of the 7th of August near Mirror Lake, and to expect to hear from him and see him at around that time. Interestingly enough, friends would also claim that Eric Robinson had talked about how his vast amount of experience traveling across harsher terrains would make this short hike a breeze. On the following morning of the 28th of July, Eric Robinson would be dropped off by his friends at the Highline Trailhead, ready to immerse himself in the vast surrounding wilderness. According to his friends, Eric was last seen in high spirits and had done one last preliminary check of his supplies to ensure that everything was in good quality and sufficient for his trip. It would be on the 2nd of August that Eric Robinson would last be seen before being reported missing. According to investigators, it would be sometime in the afternoon that a troop of Boy Scouts and their scout leaders would happen to coincidentally cross paths with Eric Robinson while the group was near the Yellowstone Creek drainage area, a few miles away from the Highline Trail that Eric had supposedly originally been scheduled to use. The leaders would later tell investigators that at the time of the sighting, Eric Robinson appeared to have had an upbeat demeanor and was in excellent physical condition, telling the troop about his plans to use the Highline Trail to his advantage. After hearing Eric's claim that he planned to stay on the Highline Trail, though the troop was nowhere near the trail, the troop's leader decided to pull out their maps and make some comparisons. After about an hour, Eric Robinson was reoriented and redirected back to the correct trail after realizing that he had been off of the trail for a little over an hour. It would be during this time, in the late afternoon, that Eric Robinson would bid the group farewell and walk in the direction designated by the troop leader in the right direction. As the appointed day of Eric's expected arrival at Mirror Lake on the 7th of August came and went without any sign of the experienced outdoorsman, his close friends grew increasingly concerned and believed that something terrible may have happened to Eric, as it was unlike him completely to not stick rigidly to his trail itinerary. Fearing the worst, the group of friends contacted the United States Forest Service and the local Duchesne County Sheriff's Department to help organize a search and rescue effort for their missing friend. Local newspapers would claim that an experienced sheriff by the name of Travis Mitchell was assigned to the case and would organize the search and rescue operation, getting volunteers and trained men in the areas along the Highline Trail within the hour of being contacted. The search efforts involved a comprehensive array of resources, including helicopters, equestrians, all-terrain vehicles, a team of experienced bloodhounds, and local campers and hikers who decided to volunteer. Sheriff Mitchell also contacted Marilyn, who attested to Eric's excellent health and unwavering passion for hiking and exploration, and gathered all of the information he needed about Eric's expected travels and itinerary. Eric's extensive preparations, including carrying extra supplies for unforeseen circumstances, showcased his competence and dedication to safety and helped put the search and rescue volunteers at ease, allowing them to do a more thorough examination of each gridded area before moving on to the next. Unfortunately for investigators, despite 15 days of relentless searching, the rescue teams found no trace of Eric Robinson. Based on the Boy Scouts' sighting on August 2nd, the search area was somewhat confined, yet their efforts yielded no breakthroughs. Recognizing that the search operations were nearing their conclusion, Marilyn made the difficult decision to travel to Utah. As the 22nd of August marked the official termination date of all search operations, Marilyn valiantly continued her quest to find Eric by distributing posters and photographs at various trailheads throughout the area. Regrettably, all endeavors to locate Eric proved fruitless, and the equipment he carried has never been found. Oddly enough, Eric's tragic hike and disappearance was reported just 1 mile west of Cuberant Lake, the same location where 12-year-old Garrett Bardsley had vanished without a trace back on the 20th of August in 2004, leaving behind an enduring mystery. Eric's disappearance further deepens the eerie connection between hikers and the enigmatic Winters Wilderness, as both he and Garrett were last seen by Boy Scouts, raising unsettling questions about the region's inexplicable nature. Eric Robinson's disappearance on the Highline Trail has baffled investigators and outdoor enthusiasts alike. Despite his thorough preparations and adherence to safety measures, he vanished into the vast expanse of the Winters Wilderness, leaving no clues to his whereabouts. Selsa Lucero. Within the breathtaking scenic landscape of the U.S. state of New Mexico lies the captivating Manzano mountain range, a cluster of large mountains and valleys that stretch out southwards, running parallel to the city of Albuquerque. These mountains, unlike the typical image of the state, host some of the densest lush greenery of New Mexico, coupled with overgrown and towering trees that line the mountain range throughout the area. Unfortunately for the Lucero family, it would be within this mesmerizing backdrop that a puzzling incident would suddenly unfold on the 9th of November, back in 1940, shrouding the region in dark and terrifying mystery. Selsa Lucero, a resilient 51-year-old woman who suffered from hearing loss, embarked on a journey with her family from Los Duranes to the Manzano Mountains. The goal of the trip, according to the family, was to continue their annual tradition of traveling to the mountain range to gather clusters of wild piñon seeds, also known as pine nuts, which flourished abundantly in the area. Preparing for the outing, Selsa took great care to equip herself with adequate protection, fashioning herself with a thick mitten that would cover her left hand to help shield it from the prickly pine needles on the piñon plants. Selsa Lucero's family would also later tell investigators that Selsa was also believed to have been dressed in thick, warm attire and even carried matches to combat any unforeseen chill in the event that the wind would get worse at higher altitudes. As the day progressed, the Lucero group, composed of Selsa's close sisters, her nephews, and other family members, would leave their campsite sometime around 10:30 in the morning, agreeing to all reconvene and meet back up at the campsite by 3:30 in the afternoon. The last known person to have seen Selsa shortly before her sudden disappearance would claim to have seen the 51-year-old woman preparing her equipment before beginning her hike away from the camp at around 11 in the morning. It would be at around that time that Selsa was believed to have briefly accompanied another camper, who was not a member of their family or a member of their camping group, before venturing out on her own to pursue piñon gathering. Despite Selsa's disability, suffering from an estimated 90% hearing loss, the Lucero family was unconcerned when Selsa left the campsite to travel on her own, as she was often considered the most experienced hiker among the entire family. Selsa's brother would later tell investigators that Selsa was one of the most capable hikers he had ever known and was in excellent physical shape for her age. Even more reassuring, the campsite location was surrounded by some of the easiest amateur hiking trails of the range and had been a spot frequented by the family countless times in the past. Oddly enough, however, as the clock struck 3:30 in the afternoon, a terrible sense of unease began to settle among the campers and the Lucero group when Selsa was nowhere to be found. Roughly 30 minutes later, their worry grew exponentially as Selsa had yet to return. Faced with the harsh realities of their predicament, the family decided to build a large fire to stave off the chilling temperatures and provide a beacon for Selsa to find her way back. Unfortunately for the family, they all understood that shouting for Selsa would have been in vain due to her deafness, and so decided to establish a grid-like search pattern, starting the direction that Selsa had believed to have wandered off to. Throughout the night, the Lucero family tirelessly scoured the area in search of their missing loved one, but were unable to find any sign of the missing 51-year-old. On the following day, on November 10th, an estimated 16 hours after Selsa was considered to be missing, the Lucero family would contact the United States Forest Service, seeking assistance and hope in their quest to find Selsa Lucero nearby. The formal search and rescue operation for Selsa Lucero spanned a period of 2 weeks, but it was a task fraught with challenges. The newspapers of the time reported that the search efforts had to be repeatedly halted due to the sudden unprecedented cold weather that swept through the mountains. For reasons not entirely understood, the expected cold weather of the mountain range would suddenly shift into a dramatic freeze that would see temperatures throughout the area plummet by more than 20 degrees at a time. Despite initial weather forecasts expecting warmer temperatures for the next month, the sudden freeze would come and go sporadically throughout the search and rescue timeframe. Despite Selsa's warm clothing and possession of matches, teams of pilots across several different aircraft, trained search and rescue horsemen, a group of volunteer hikers, and even an experienced team of bloodhounds were unable to find any sign of the missing 51-year-old woman. According to search and rescue volunteers and missing person investigators, more than 20 miles radiating out from where Selsa was last seen had been thoroughly checked, and then checked again, but there seemed to be no indication where Selsa had disappeared off to. Even more peculiar, despite having several different sources of Selsa's scent to track, the canine team was unable to pick up any trail of Selsa after following several hundred feet from the campsite. Among the searchers, one person stood out, a man by the name of Selsa Lucero, Selsa Lucero's devoted brother. Even after others had given up hope, Selsa continued to search for Selsa, determined to find his beloved sister. In a November 10, 1941, article published in the Albuquerque Journal, Selsa expressed his ongoing concern, revealing the following: "We have found no trace of her since she left camp. Not even the coffee can she carried to put her piñons in, or her mitten." Selsa had ventured away from her camp in El Cañón de la Carolina, situated on the western slope of the Manzano Mountains. Over 350 searchers, comprising the New Mexico State Police Department, sheriff's deputies, police officers, forest rangers, Navajo Indian trackers, and over a couple hundred volunteers, scoured the mountains in a desperate bid to locate the missing woman. However, their efforts proved fruitless, and the whereabouts of Selsa Lucero remained elusive, her fate a haunting mystery. To this day, her ultimate fate remains unknown, forever etched into the enigmatic nature of the Manzano Mountains. The disappearance of Amy Jackson in Sequoia National Park. In the realm of perplexing vanishings, the enigma surrounding the disappearance of Amy Jackson stands as a haunting testament to the mysteries that shroud the Sequoia National Park, located in the state of California. According to one of the strangest missing persons reports ever made, it would be on a fateful evening of August 13th, back in 1966, that Amy Jackson, a mere 18 months old, would suddenly disappear while embarked on a short camping adventure with her parents. The nature of Amy Jackson's disappearance would leave investigators puzzled, as the young girl appeared to vanish in the middle of the night while lying alongside her two parents. According to the report, the Jackson family would journey from their cozy residence, located in the small town of Upland, California, to the idyllic sanctuary of Pier Creek Campgrounds, where they would decide to camp for the night. Eager to bask in the serenity of large sequoia trees and in the safe camping spot often frequented by other experienced hikers and campers, the family promptly set up camp upon their arrival, ready to immerse themselves in the ethereal beauty that surrounded them. As night soon fell upon the wild landscape, the Jackson family, satiated after a delightful meal and a short hike throughout the surrounding area, finally decided to return back to their tent, which zipped up completely, and lay down for the night. According to Amy's parents, all three were sleeping inside the enclosed tent, with Amy sleeping in the middle of both of her parents when they last saw their 18-month-old daughter. Oddly enough, in the middle of the night, Mrs. Jackson would wake up to find that Amy Jackson was nowhere to be found, with the tent zipper still closed and no sign of Amy ever having woken up or walking away from their campsite. Panicked at the sight of their missing daughter, Mr. and Mrs. Jackson would immediately reach out to the national park officials to begin a search for their missing 18-month-old daughter. At first, the parents believed that Amy had been kidnapped, as it seems unlikely that the 18-month-old could have unzipped and zipped the tent back up and wandered off into the night very far. Despite this suspicion, however, the National Park Police swiftly mobilized their forces and established a search and rescue operation within an hour of being notified of the girl's disappearance, unleashing a formidable arsenal of bloodhounds and aerial support in a relentless quest to locate the missing toddler. However, the conclusion of the first day's search left the commanding officers concerned and confused, grappling with the absence of any tangible evidence regarding Amy's whereabouts. To the utter dismay of investigators and national park officials, even the highly trained bloodhounds failed to catch a whiff of Amy Jackson's scent, with the dogs displaying strange behavior and refusing to leave the tent, as if Amy had never left the tent to begin with. The lack of cooperation from the bloodhounds and trouble with finding any evidence or sign of the toddler, despite searching the area within a 3-mile radius, would force the National Park Service to reach out for assistance beyond their jurisdiction. In a remarkable turn of events, the revered Federal Bureau of Investigation was summoned to lend their expertise, amplifying the search efforts with additional helicopters, ground searchers, equestrians, and a fervent corps of dedicated volunteers, all united in their tireless pursuit of locating the missing girl. With the focus of the search efforts centered approximately 25 miles east of Porterville, at a dizzying elevation of 7,000 feet, the search and rescue operation continued over the course of 4 days with unwavering resolve. Yet, despite these best efforts, little to no sign of the missing girl was ever uncovered. Although tragic for the Jackson family, investigators felt that the gravity of the situation prompted a response from the FBI to investigate the Jackson parents, with the Tulare County Sheriff's Department claiming that the account of events told by the parents seemed not only implausible but completely impossible, suspecting instead that foul play on the part of the parents had taken place. By the 3rd day of the search, the collective might of nearly 400 searchers, meticulously scouring every inch of the campsite and its surrounding environs, fervently hoping for a trace of the 18-month-old girl, was unable to make any new major discoveries. The disheartening reality of the situation was further underscored by the bloodhounds' baffling failure to detect Amy's scent, and the fact that the 18-month-old girl should not have been able to have traveled very far from the camp in the middle of the night, given her size and the time of her disappearance, adding yet another layer of intrigue to an already confounding puzzle. However, on the 4th day of the relentless search, a tragic resolution soon emerged as the Kern County Special Rescue Team made a chilling discovery. An August 18, 1966 article in the esteemed Arizona Republic recounts the harrowing moment a crack Kern County Special Rescue Team found her nestled at the base of a colossal rock, perched precariously uphill from the Deer Creek campground. This account vividly illustrates why the Kern County Sheriff felt compelled to involve the FBI, grappling with the nightmarish scenario of how she vanished from a tent, defying logical explanation while evading the search efforts of both humans and hounds. The assumption arising from this discovery suggested the possibility of a fatal fall from a towering boulder, hinting at the heartbreaking prospect that Amy may have traversed even greater distances before meeting her demise, or succumbed to the unforgiving elements of exposure. Reports also alluded to the fact that a 3-mile radius encompassing the campsite had been meticulously scoured prior to the discovery, yielding no trace of anything strange or any sign of the girl's passing. As the notion of filing a Freedom of Information Act request with the FBI remains futile, considering their steadfast refusal to release any information on ongoing investigations, the incident surrounding Amy Jackson's disappearance remains steeped in suspicion, even in the modern day. Masters of meticulous documentation and the subsequent classification of files, the FBI safeguards a repository of accounts pertaining to the peculiar disappearances of missing children. As we delve deeper into the recesses of this disconcerting narrative, the looming question persists. What hidden forces conspire behind these baffling occurrences, and what truths lie shrouded within the vaults of the unknown? So, what do you make of these mysterious individuals? Be sure to leave your questions and answers in the comment section below and help us to grow this community while working to solve these unexplained mysteries. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more videos.